Another one in the books, man. If you don't leave me alone, old man, I swear, you need to just leave me alone, man. Leave me alone before you end up hurting yourself. That's how all these things start off. You sit there, you say something, and then you get bamboozled. You be like, oh, I didn't know they could do that. Oh, I didn't know they could do that.
Tag, I'm just trying to inspire you,
I
man.
don't
I'm
need
just
you to.
trying to inspire
I don't need you
you.
to inspire me, man. I don't need you. I don't need. I don't need you to inspire me.
Just trying to get some professionalism out of you. That's all. Professionalism.
Professionalism. I'm always a
That's
professional, 24/7. This is
it.
my house.
Absolutely. 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 Yeah, absolutely. Tag. How's it going, Tag?
I'm good. How are you?
Same here. Same here. I'm very I have a good opinion about this professionalism
Well,
and how I view it.
yeah, as you should. You've been on this earth for 100 years, so you know my takes probably won't be.
So I know exactly what it
My
is.
my
So
takes probably won't be as expanded
broad
upon, broad and everything. Like someone of your.
knowledge. That's right. That's right. So, but no, I'm doing well. Hope everyone out there is doing well as also.
Yeah. And for those who are wondering what the topic today, it is professionalism, and is it being a lost cause? Which I don't really think it is. I just think it's more so a changing of the guard, to be honest with you. Um, the way y'all do things compared to the way we do things. That's what I think it is. Because I
I'm
mean,
looking around. I'm looking in the
you can sit
air. I'm
there and
looking
say that all
around,
you can sit
and
there and
I'm
say that
like,
all you want to, but it
uh,
is a changing of the guard. I mean, there's still a lot of professionalism, but it's just the way how things are communicated and the language that is said. Because if I said something to you, you might take it a certain way, but if I said it to somebody my same age, they would understand where I'm coming from. Like if I said something professional, like a professional manner, but if I put my own spin on it, you may take it a certain way compared to
okay,
somebody.
is that based on age, sex, race? I
It could be
mean,
based on a lot of things. Well, I mean, of course, it's going to be based on age because I'm,
so it's all age. It's
no,
not based on
no, but I'm
sex.
just saying in this example, it would be based on age because you grew up in a certain way and I grew up a certain way,
Right.
and the terminology has changed. It may mean the same thing, but it's changed. So if I say something you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're just like, oh well, he's being insubordinate, blah 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 blah. But at the same time, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I just explained it to you in a different way that was brought up for my lingo.
Yeah. I mean, you might have a valid point, but I expect you to prove it. I expect you to prove that point
Mm-hmm.
in this conversation
Okay.
because I can prove the opposite
I'm sure you can.
in
I
my
mean, you're
time.
not gonna get any. You're not gonna get a fight from me saying that my generation or that we're not. That we're the most professional. No, I know.
Okay,
I know we're a
okay.
rowdy bunch, but it's the ones that after us is that's worse than the worse than us. So that's where you should focus your efforts and not
Right.
know.
So what makes them the worst? Tat, what makes them the worst? What makes you think
I
they're
mean,
different than
considering
you?
the fact that they're eating Tide Pods and doing other stuff like that. Like I know what I think the worst thing I think we've done was what, like huff paint, but I think that's a thing that's been
No,
around.
that wasn't. No,
Yes, it
we didn't do
was.
that.
Yes, it was. You had the paint with the what was that chemical in it?
No,
Where it's like, don't use this paint anymore.
no, it was more of the what do you call it? The what's that? the oh man, it, the the foam you put on the um
Styrofoam?
no, the ice cream, the we call it, oh, it's eluding me. Whipped cream that they used to suck the stuff
Oh,
out
I
of the
mean
whipped
that
cream.
was still a thing in I
Yeah,
that's still a thing.
that.
Yeah.
So it's so far removed from me that I could even get it, the whipped cream stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. That's it. We didn't do that. All that. Well, sniffing glue,
Yeah. So some of
the
that still
glue thing. The
some
glue.
of the stuff that
That's
y'all
right.
did still trickled to our generation. There was still that. There was
Right.
that.
That's right.
I think the huffing paint was a newer one, probably the tail end of your guys is going off into, the
Yeah.
back nine or whatnot. But yeah. The the sniffing glue, that was I remember that being one. Um Huffing paint. And then, but yeah, like the next one, when I heard people eating Tide Pods, I was like, okay.
I've never heard that till
Yes,
today.
oh, okay. You
Till
obviously don't
today.
look at the
Till today.
news.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that. Wow. Yeah. They eat anything.
You're right.
So,
And then
but
they,
no. But with professionalism, I just want to just make this point, and I really, really am passionate about this because I've been out here working in a professional setting practically all my life, and my takeaway is it's not something that somebody is required of a group. It's required by an individual. You carry yourself. You're your own business in a sense. You carry yourself professionally. I don't care what everybody else do, but you are responsible for you. It's not the customer. It's not the person that walks in. It's not anybody else. That's your responsibility to carry yourself in a professional manner. I just want to make that disclaimer. Tack, if you disagree with that, but I'm telling you, that is my main focus. That's an individual responsibility. I just want to put it out there.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not gonna get, you're not gonna get an argument from me on that. But
Blame other people. Like people like to blame other people
that's
for not being professional.
well, people just like to blame other people for their own downfalls when it's all their responsibility anyway. So that just
Absolutely.
they
Absolutely. I just want to
there's
put
no
that out there.
ownership. There's no
That's right.
ownership.
That's right. You are responsible to be professional. I don't care if your customer handles you the wrong way. I don't care if your boss handles you. You carry yourself in a professional manner because you are responsible for you.
Now, if only that worked for everybody else outside of you. If only that worked for everybody else outside of you. Because the minute you said customer, I was just like, we already know there's a lot of customers that are unprofessional that go into places, establishments, and just show out for no reason. Same with bosses. Just like the,
Disrespectful.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. We meet. We got managers and people in position that do not live by that rule, but that doesn't allow you to not be that. That doesn't give you the right not to be that. You always carry yourself as a professional. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter. Lowest job, I mean, digging ditches, it doesn't matter. You carry yourself accordingly. You represent you. No excuse. No excuse. I know y'all, the young tack, the young group have a different mindset. Oh, my boss treat me like crap, or the customer says the wrong thing. I'm gonna handle I'm gonna take the gloves off. I'm gonna get with him. Right?
Yeah.
But
It's
no,
like,
no,
yeah.
no, you got to carry yourself as a professional always.
I think there's exceptions to that rule because there's exceptions to that rule. You can't carry yourself as professional 24/7 because there's going to be somebody that comes up and says something out of pocket, and just you got to put it. You got to check them. You gotta check them. Mm-mm. Nah, there's too. I've seen too many videos where people just showing out in like a Starbucks or something like that, and they're trying to be professional, getting stuff thrown in their face. Nah, bro. Nah, bro.
See, that's the you.
I'm a
That's the
I'm a
you.
treat
Tack,
I'm a
that's the
treat you I'm a
you.
treat you like you treat me. If I treat you with respect and professional, I expect the same thing. But the minute you go out of pot. Now, if it's a superior, you got to show some restraint. But like a customer, somebody like that, bruh.
So you stop becoming a professional when somebody else changes.
It depends on the situation. Like I said, if I'm treating
Okay.
you with respect, let's say if I was working at a Starbucks, I'm treating you with
Okay.
respect, courteous, professional manner, but then you sitting there taking drinks, throwing them in my face, doing all this other stuff. You really think I'm going to act a professional? You really think I'm still going to act a professional with all that going on?
I would hope you would.
That I would say about a majority of the listeners that
Mhm.
listen to this would agree with me. It's that's that there's going to be a moment where you can't. I don't I understand what you're saying, but
Mhm.
there's too much going on for you to be a professional when somebody's disrespecting you like that. Because then you got all this stuff on you, chemicals and everything else, and it's like, person's got to go.
That, that I've seen instances where individual walk. I don't know what was said. I don't walk behind from behind the counter,
Hmm.
hit a 70-something-year-old man and killed him. Uh, If he was being a professional, that wouldn't have happened.
So let's put this on the.
Hey,
So what if that dude ended up killing the guy that was behind the counter? Then what?
well, at least
You
he
being
died as
you
a
being a
professional.
professional, you being a professional gets you killed at work. Then what? Then what?
The chances are, I think this is personal,
Mm,
that someone carrying themselves in a professional manner has less likely of chance than taking the gloves off if they're disrespected in a situation. I've heard of situations where somebody got cold fries and came back and had a complaint and shot the person. And I surmise it as, for me, not I've never worked that job. Me personally, I would say, okay, you got cold fries. Are you feel you got cold fries? Problem. Put some more fries in, give you more fries here. But I surmise, not saying this is, I know the situation, know
mm-hmm,
everything, the backstory.
mm-hmm,
I surmise that somebody took the gloves off, got pissed off, said something to someone about cold fries,
mm-hmm. I don't think that was.
and
I don't. I really
and,
don't think
and,
that's.
and the
It make
situation and the
in a
situation escalated to
wrestling.
a point where that person got killed over cold fries.
In a situation like that, I don't think that's the case because I've seen people come in irate over cold fries and the person's handling themselves in the most professional manner, and they get hands put on them, and it's just like you supposed to just eat
Yeah.
that. Yeah, people come in
What are
irate
you
over.
supposed to do?
Get them out the store. Like make sure they're not a threat to anybody else in the store or something. I mean, they don't have security there, so what else you gonna do? What
But
else you gonna do?
professionalism keeps you out of a lot of things.
Oh, it
A
does.
lot of things.
But in that situation, what are you gonna do? It's like if I'm getting shot over cold fries and I'm being professional. Like, oh, excuse me,
No,
excuse me, sir.
no, no, no. You telling me this is what you're trying to say to me, Ty.
Mhm.
You're telling me that the person offered to give them new fries and that person still wasn't satisfied.
They were just irate. They were sitting there talking about all this other stuff that was going on, and the person was like, we've offered you, some more fries or whatever," and the dude just started swinging. Just started swinging on the person at the counter. It's like, bro, what?
You seen this?
Yes. Yes, I
Wow.
have. Exactly. So I'm saying you can't always be professional. I understand what you're saying, but you can't always be professional. You have to defend yourself at your job as well when the situation calls for it.
I mean, you have to defend yourself,
Exactly. So
but
I'm saying, so
what I'm saying what I'm saying is professionalism plays a part in how it escalates.
right, but
You know, always being professional.
if the person's on 100 coming at you and you still handle it as best you can, and the gloves come off for that person, they trying to swing on the you. What, you want me to just sit there and eat these licks because I got to be professional and not
No,
lose the
no, no.
job?
That's not saying that you're being professional. That is not saying that you always got to protect yourself. You always got to preserve yourself. What I'm saying
Okay, so
is
we're on the same page
the
then. So
situation.
that's preserving myself. That is preserving myself. We're on the same
But
page.
that doesn't stop you from being professional.
Okay, we can agree on that because I'm not about to sit there and have you say I got to take licks from somebody because they
No,
they
no,
want to sit there and
absolutely not.
act out in the
Absolutely not.
no. Mm-mm.
But it doesn't give you the right to go back and forth with them verbally either.
No, but there have been it.
Professionalism allows you to use that restraint and know when to call the proper authorities.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to go back and forth with somebody, antagonize them, or escalate the situation. You can step back, Tat. You can step back and say, okay, this person is irate. I need to call 911 and get somebody else involved.
Mm-hmm. And how long does it take for the cops to get there exactly?
I I don't know.
How
They
long
could
does
be
it
sitting
take? You said, oh, yeah, step back, hold it. Okay, this person could be sitting in here for about 15, 20 minutes, still going off. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm just giving you counterpoints to what you say. I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I
right.
understand what you're saying. But everybody that listens to this podcast can agree that there is a point to where you just have to be like, I got to put an end to this, like right here. I'm sorry, like you got to go.
But it can cost you. It could cost you your freedom and it could cost you your life. Is it worth it?
Cost me my freedom and my life. So either way, either way, it could cost me my life. So if I don't do anything, I get shot. If I do something, I get shot. So
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
it depends on the
I
person.
always.
It
That's
depends on the
right. It
person.
does depend on the person.
So
Right. Right.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's situational, but I can guarantee you, if it's somebody's in a situation like that, they're not going to sit there and think, "Oh, I got to be professional." Like this person's in my face, especially when it's like COVID and stuff like that going on. Like person's in my face, just all the spit and stuff. Like, come on, man. No, 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 no.
But you have to realize that the professionalism is something that is required. If you work for someone,
Mm-hmm.
that's required. That is required. You're your own, and I want people to realize you're your own business in a sense. You're your own company. You represent you. And what you do and how you handle situations determine that. Come on, Tag. You know that. You know that. Come on.
Yeah, I know that, but like I said, I know you. I know you've
You
done
gonna start
things.
swinging on
I
people
know.
because they
I
said something you
know.
don't like?
No, not something I don't like. If they're gonna sit there and
They throw fries in your face.
that's strike one. So that's already strike one. If I'm being professional to you and you, that's essentially what they see as assault, right? So you throwing something
Right,
at me.
right.
So that's strike
That's right.
one right there. So
Call 911. Call 911. Be professional. Call 911.
I'm not gonna turn my back to this person.
No, don't turn your back. Call 911. Somebody there, another professional, should be making that call.
Mm-hmm. If
Right?
this is
Come on, Tech. Talk to me.
any other business, I understand what you're saying because you're not gonna get that there. But a restaurant like Waffle House, anything like that, I hear you. But the professionalism more than likely is not going to be there because people tend to be out of line and disrespectful for no reason.
That's right.
So they, in my eyes, they get what they deserve. So if you wanna sit there and talk out the side of your neck, and you don't want to you're treating others how you want to be treated. Essentially, that's the golden rule. Treat others how you want to
Right.
be treated.
I
So
mean, that's right.
so
Absolutely.
treat others how you want to be treated. So if you're gonna sit there and be a dickhead, then don't sit there and be surprised when somebody else comes back at you with the same energy, especially if they're being nice to you.
Tag, you in a professional setting, you're doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to be that. You have to handle yourself accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
They are a customer. They are getting a product or a service. They have a lot of leeway compared to you. You are on your profession. You're doing your job. You are demanded to be at a higher level, a higher standard.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go fisticuffs because somebody else want to go fisticuffs. Come on, Jack. Come on.
We'll agree to disagree on this. We'll agree to, it's not a 100% all the time. You got to go. I'm just saying in those high situational moments, you're not going to sit there and be like, I got to be professional here. No, that's all I'm trying to say. You can be
But
professional
you should think
99
about it.
99.9% of the time, but the minute there's going to be that one moment where somebody does something to you and it's going to cross the line, and then you just be like, all right, so it is what it is at this point. Like, especially because I mean, there's instances where because I've worked at places where I know my boss only cares about the bottom line, the money, doesn't care about the staff. So if I already know my bosses have my back in situations, then I really have nothing to lose at this point. You know what I mean? I can go find another job or find somewhere else, especially if it's like a restaurant or something like that. They're usually hiring pretty often. So that 0.1%, that person's out of line, and it's like, what do you want me to do? That's how I see it. I mean, 99.9% of the time, yes, professionalism, but that point one is where, like I said, there's always that moment where in somebody's, I think in everybody's life that they've been working, that they've had that moment where that person was just like,
Absolutely.
so yeah,
Absolutely.
so that's what I'm
I've had
saying. The point one
I've had
percent.
it, but you have to use control.
That's you. That's you. That's you. I'm just looking at it from another perspective. It's just,
But you made a very valid point, Tack. When you see that the people, I guess, promotions, raises, or the management, they they play a big part on your professionalism and how much restraint you would use to stay in that zone. But I expect every person to have a high value of themselves to keep themselves there. But those things play a major part in how someone keeps that level of professionalism when it comes to a corporation or working in an environment
right.
where there's no promotion, there's no raises, it's low salary, the management, you don't agree with the management doesn't practice professionalism.
Mhm.
You're practically the only one there trying to be professional in an unprofessional environment. So it's tough. It is tough. So I understand what you're saying, Ty. But I expect people. This is about you,
Mhm.
self accountability. So if you want to keep your stock high and keep your level of integrity at a certain level, you're going to have to deal with that through adversity. Things around you is unprofessional,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean you have to be.
0.1%. 0.1%. That's all I'm gonna say. 0.1%. 0.1%.
Okay, let's talk about the sex aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I notice women with attitudes, and I've listened to their plight. I've heard situations. They have, let's say, they have work done or things done on their cars, homes, just at a gas station or whatever, and just being social, just being nice, being courteous, and they have work being done at their home, they're having stuff worked on their car, and then the guy acts unprofessional, wants their number, wants to talk to them, wants to, you know, it's inappropriate, not being professional. You're there to fix, something, work on the property or whatever. You need to keep it where it is.
Mm-hmm.
You work on the property. I don't care if she's attractive, not attractive, whatever. Be a professional 100%, not 99.9%, and that 0.1% don't. You are a professional 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Tat? Come on,
in
talk to
the,
me.
in this situation, well, I was letting you finish because in this situation, this is where I'm just like I try not to put myself in that situation because of the climate that's going on around us. Because there's been
Mhm.
instances where somebody will compliment like, "Hey, you look nice today." They take it the wrong way. So it's just like,
Absolutely.
so you can't say anything regardless. So I'm just like, I'd rather not be in that situation and be professional and turn it down and give it to somebody else than actually work that job or be put on another assignment, because I'm not going to sit there and be professional and then there's a different outcome where she said it's the he said she said kind of thing. Like nothing was said. Like if it's just me and her there, for instance, if I'm working like there as cable and then like doing some cable work or whatever,
Mhm.
and I don't say anything. I do my job. I say what's going on, what's wrong. I leave. She complains and said I did something. It came at her some kind of way when nothing was said. Then so it's a so I just prefer to remove myself from that situation or have somebody else there with me when it comes to something like that. Uh, so that way I'm covering myself. So there's no issues.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Now, those situations do happen, especially if they didn't get a service that they wanted, and not necessarily that you didn't provide the service that was necessary, that they didn't get something extra, and now, or they don't like your professionalism, to the point where you ignore them.
Mhm.
You just do your job, and you got out of there. Now their feelings are hurt, and you could be placed in a situation like that. But if you can't control that, you can't pick who your customers are.
No, but
And
that's what I was
usually,
saying. I would prefer if I know the person or know somebody who knows that person or whatever, or if I have an inkling, I would just prefer to remove myself from the situation so that doesn't occur. But I understand you can't do it for everything because there's going to be times where you have to go
that's right.
regardless. But
That's right.
if I can remove myself from the situation from it happening, then I'll do it. But if I have to be there, of course I'm going to be best behavior, courteous, and everything like they explain
Absolutely.
everything. But
Absolutely.
yeah, in this climate with everything that's going on, I would prefer if either to have somebody else with me, like a
Mhm.
travel partner or whatever. If it's a job that can support two people or have two people or whatever, because I don't want him just standing around just like, you know what I
Watching me work.
mean? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Um, Either that or just something like that. But I hear what you're saying as far as being. I mean, yes, in everything you do, you got to be professional. But in those kind of situations, when it's dealing with the opposite sex, I prefer to have somebody with me or like be something where it's outside, like outside where there's other people can see or whatever or some. If it's
Cameras.
yeah,
People got cameras now.
yeah.
It's technology. Technology can hurt you, or it can protect you.
Yeah.
So things like that. So that's a great thing. But what I've run across and heard is n- people not being professional.
Mm.
You know, you know, see a woman there, attractive woman, and they say things inappropriate. Just do your job. Do your job. You are required to do your job. Stay professional. And these a lot of times I hear this with
Excuse me.
companies, self, independent companies, not
Hmm.
working for a major corporation. I'm talking about independent, and you are carrying yourself unprofessionally. You're trying to hit on the customer. Do your job and leave. And maybe, just maybe, you might get a reference and things like that, depending on the type of work you do. Let your work speak for it for yourself. Don't sit here and try to hit on every woman you work on. And that's why sometimes I feel bad about it. I have a problem with women with attitude, but a lot of times I understand because you can't be friendly with some people. You can't just say hi. Imagine that person working for you and they're inappropriate. But if you just say hi to somebody, how they misinterpret it to the point where they think you trying to hit on, oh, give me your number, this and this. It's just a snowballs into something other than just a normal greeting.
Right.
That's a problem. So what I'm saying is professionalism, it carries over and it covers a wide broad of things. But every woman can't think that every time somebody says hi to them that they're trying to hit on them either. So, but I don't know how they can make discernment between the two. I don't know, but something have if people are more professional, then I think less of this will happen. I don't know. How about you, Tag? Is there a solution?
No. No, there isn't. There isn't a
You know,
solution because
it's really
it can
good.
go the other way. You're being professional, but you may be an attractive looking person, and then she's
Mhm.
trying to hit on you. And then you just like
Absolutely,
and nine
but you
times,
need to keep it.
but it, we all know
We need to
we
keep it.
we all know
Oh, meditation,
unless you
meditation
have
helps.
something to go home to, 9 times out of 10 the person is listening at least 30% of what's going on.
You. I'm saying, this is your livelihood.
Right.
Are you willing to risk your livelihood for a moment?
So not me, but I know some
No,
people who
no, but that's what people have to realize. You
right.
have to weigh everything.
Right.
If you start down that path, it's not a good path. Professionalism is the path, a straight and narrow path. If
Mm-hmm.
you stay on that road, you don't have all those variables that you can go the wrong way.
Right, but when you have that little person on your shoulder telling you, it's like, "Hey, man, it'll be all right. You'll be okay. You'll be okay." Yeah, and so that's so I hear you about being professional. However, there are different circumstances, and I can see both sides of where there's like some people will just call to have a technician to come out, and there's nothing wrong because they just want to see the technician. It happens. You can't you can be professional, but it's going to be very hard for you to be professional. That's why you're not saying that because you know
Nothing,
it's true. You know it's true.
I'm just saying nothing is easy in life,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to always stay prepared. You have to weigh it out. You know, I tell you a solution. It's a solution that send another technician. Say, hey, I know what this is about. If you're a professional, I
Mm-hmm.
know what this is about. Send somebody else. Why would you even put yourself back in that situation?
Right.
That's being a professional. That's being professional.
Right.
That's how it protects you. Being a professional. Look, this situation, hey, if I missed something when I was there, when I was doing work, okay. But I didn't feel comfortable there. So can you send John
But you're the only
or
tech on today.
John?
You're on call. You're the only tech on today.
Can somebody else ride with me?
Mhm. You're the only tech on
Today.
today.
You know what? I just make it known. I don't feel comfortable going back.
Mhm. And that might cost you your livelihood. You might lose your job because you don't feel comfortable.
No, I'm being a professional
No,
though.
I hear
I'm
you.
not going to put
I hear
myself
you.
at
I hear
risk.
you, but they can look at it as like insubordination. You don't want to do your job. They can look. Don't you can't say they won't. They can look at it that way if they're trying to find a reason to get rid of you. They will find a reason to get rid of you.
But
there's always different ways that this can spiral out of control. I hear you on your professionalism, but it is just so many different nuances and little things that can happen where it's just like, okay, well, you say you're uncomfortable. Oh, he doesn't want to work today. It's insubordination. Let's write him up.
Heck, you looking at all negative.
I'm looking at the other situation. I'm just giving you counterpoints to what you're saying.
Oh, it's
I
that's
hear
right.
you. I hear you about your professionalism. However, there's always these things, and they do happen. They do
They
happen.
do.
I have
They
seen
do.
firsthand where something like that has happened, where somebody got fired because they didn't feel comfortable for going somewhere. I've seen it.
And that's sad. That's sad. But the person has the knowledge knowing that they did everything they're supposed to do to protect themselves. At least their name wasn't tarnished. At least they didn't have to a legal battle or anything saying that they did something or not do something that can cost them something way down the line. They just lost a job and they did the right thing, and now they can go to another one without any issues.
Well, you say that, but then if you have to use that job as a reference and be like, "Oh, can we call you?" Because they're gonna try to call your other employers. Why did he get fired? Oh, insubordination. Oh, he doesn't like works. So it's a trickle down effect. That's all it is.
It
It's a
is.
trickle down
It
effect.
is. It is.
So
It is.
that it can go either way. But I hear, like I said, once again, I hear you on your professionalism. I'm just giving you counterpoints. It's like, well, if you try to be professional, this can go one of two ways, or one of three ways, or this can happen, or this can happen, and it does happen. Happens probably fairly regularly. If I was to look up the stats for it, I'm sure there's probably people out there that could be like, yeah, I felt uncomfortable, or I went out there and she made a pass at me, or vice versa, he made a pass at me, et cetera, and just spirals out of control from there. But
Absolutely.
that particular category, as far as sex and professionalism, is one that's very hard to maneuver because there's so many different things that are going on now to where it's a he said she said battle, or you didn't even do anything, you just said hi, and then you get you get a complaint because you were extending a greeting to their customer because it's not your customer because you work for the company.
Customer.
And so
That's right.
yeah. So,
But the thing is, just like police officers, maybe it's going to come to a point where you have to video your sessions,
yeah,
which you do.
yeah.
You have to wear a camera on your chest to say, "Hey, this is what happened. This is how I handle it," and to cover yourself. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that to protect yourself. If you run into situations like that or the potential or something like that, I say do whatever you need to do to protect yourself. But don't lack professionalism to just protect yourself. Yeah. And think about social media. People like to video everything. you know, is social media a part of this, um, these interactions with people trying to point them out as being unprofessional or pushing them to be unprofessional?
Both,
Both.
both. I think social media has been a big cause of a lot of people getting called out on both sides, either
Okay.
being unprofessional or the customer. Either way, if like a person has social media, I mean, it's not like you're going around asking if they have social media or whatever. But there's
Right.
detectives out there that will do their homework to back you up. Like if something was to happen, uh, there'd be people out there digging around for the truth just to get it out there to others, like put the company on shame or something. Like if it was like something bad happened to you and you did everything you're supposed to do or whatever. um
Right.
so it's a double-edged sword as far as social media and professionalism, because there's a lot of people that'll go and dig further on a particular person's background, like, hey, this person was this, that, and the other back in the
Convicted convict.
day. So it's
Right. Right. Right.
so yeah, it definitely has changed the landscape in regards to how people, well, one, interact with each other and how you are professional. I don't really find social media as a professional platform myself. It's more so for like promoting your business and maybe interacting, more so interacting with others, with people, than it being more of a professional platform. So you, like, the only thing that I could see, like, you would use the business platforms to be professional, like LinkedIn and stuff like that. That's where I'm like, okay, you got to be professional on here. You can't sit here and say, say some wild stuff or whatever. But on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff, you can be more yourself, or whoever you want to be or whatever.
Well, do they use that as a sense of hiring practices? Look at those type media.
They can. I mean, they
Okay.
can. I don't think they should, but it does give them an insight of who they might be hiring. I mean, I've seen instances where people got fired because of tweets they said years ago or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, if it's out there, then it's public use essentially, unless you private your account or something. But even then,
So, oh no,
and I was
go
just
ahead.
saying,
I'm sorry.
even then, nobody's going to see it if you private your account. So, so you can't really.
So, tag part of professionalism is even your managing your social media.
Hmm.
I'm
Essentially,
gathering that from you.
essentially, yeah. If the company decides to look at your social media, like for what you post and stuff like that. But like I said, if people really wanted to go out, gun you down or whatever, essentially they'll find a way. They'll dig up some stuff that you said in your past or whatever on social media. Um, because they can't really say anything like verbally. I mean, you could come up, I could say somebody from my past could come and say I said something to them, but it's just like it's a
You
me
see it
against
on
it.
video, it's totally different. It came out of his mouth. I got it on video. He
Right,
said, "This is
right.
what he said." I get it. So professionalism, especially with social media, you definitely it's an asset to stay in that realm of professionalism, or you because it's accountability there.
That
Because you're accountable.
yeah, or just
What you
don't have
say.
social media or have burner accounts as they call them. Just have a burner
Burner
account
account.
where you don't have it linked to anything that you own or whatever.
Oh, okay.
That's what a lot
Okay.
of people tend to do. They're like, hey, I'm on my alt account, whatever. They'll let their friends know that this is them, but they don't have anything tying them to themselves, essentially. So that's how you can get around it if you wanna say something, some outrageous, off the wall stuff or whatever. Also, if you don't want to be professional on social media, that's how you go around it. That's how you get around it, at least.
I say the best thing is always carry yourself professionally.
Hmm.
You don't have to worry about it. Everything you say, you can stand by it no matter what.
Yeah, but
Like people might disagree with it, but at least you presented it your opinion in a professional way.
yeah,
I'm
but
not saying it's going to work out right. I'm not saying everything's going to work. Nothing works out right,
right.
but you said it in a good way, in the best way you could.
But I mean, a lot of people want to just be themselves. They don't want to be quote unquote on 24/7. Like that's what I call professionalism is being on 24/7. Sometimes you just want to relax. Like I know there's things amongst my friends that we not like anything out of pie, but like we call each other, curse words and other stuff like that. And I know that's not acceptable in the office. So I don't want to be
Absolutely.
professional amongst my friends because that's my friend group. Because so we're tight knit, we're a group. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna be cordial and casual with you. So I think a lot of people don't want to sit there and have to be on 24/7 because they're gonna need to turn their brain off. And I guess that's where a lot of the issues come about. But like I said, if they just get a different account or just not on social media whatsoever, just that just solves the issue. But I
I mean, Tech, if you're in your own home, I expect you not to be have to be professional
you say
24/7.
you say that.
But what I'm saying is if you videoing it and you putting it out there and you put yourself out there or you working for someone,
Mm.
it's a certain requirement.
No,
Don't you think that
I
you
hear
would
you.
carry yourself?
I hear you, but that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people look at the social media platforms as turning off the professionalism. They don't have to be on 24/7 like they do at work or when they're out and about, stuff like that. They use the social media to vent their frustrations or say, reply to somebody that's the keyboard warriors being out of pocket or whatever. So
Huh?
if you're actually running a business, then yes, you have to be professional. But if you're just yourself, I mean, they're looking at it more like this. What I say on my own accounts, my own accounts that are not associated with the business, should not be
Mhm.
used against me at the business one that I'm working at professionally. That's where a lot of the
Oh,
argument. That's where a lot of the argument comes from. It's just like, why are you looking at my socials? But I'm the
what about politics? We hold what they say on
Hey,
their personal
politicians are
side,
different. Politicians
well,
are be nope.
and
Hey, nope.
their
That's your
agenda, right?
nope. Politicians their own thing. Nope, nope, nope,
but
nope,
but
nope.
but it's held against them. It's still their
Yeah, but
words. Their
politicians aren't using. Politicians have somebody writing stuff for them on social media. They're not actually using social media themselves. They don't have time to.
I see it shoot themselves in the foot, say one thing and then say
Hey,
the
that
opposite.
that hey, that's saying one thing, saying the opposite. But their social media handlers do all the typing for them. They don't say anything on social media themselves. A lot of people don't. A lot of people do not. A lot of people that working on the big businesses or that are in business for themselves and doing really well. They very rarely are typing on Twitter from their own hands. It's usually
Hands.
somebody typing for them to make them look good in the press or whatever the case may be. Don't get me wrong, there are exceptions to the rule. Namely, I can think of one right now, Kevin Durant. He's a big one that usually responds from like a he's the one that was yeah,
Personally.
personally. He'll respond from a burner account because he started using burner accounts because he was getting a lot of flack from responding from his main account to people that were like talking trash to him or whatever.
Mhm. I've heard about this burner account. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So
So that's so that's
it's
that's where a lot of that comes from.
okay. Now, so in the food industry,
Right.
and I believe me, I'm not talking from what I heard, what I think. The service in fast food.
Hmm.
A lot of times I go there with a cheerful attitude. Good afternoon, how you doing? Everything. And I get what you want.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Snatch the money, practically snatch the money out of you.
Hmm.
It What do you think brings about that? For me, that is not showing a sign of professionalism. Professionalism is, look, I know I'm here. I
Mm-hmm.
might not, I have poor management. It could be poor management, poor salary, poor, but I'm working. I choose to work here.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody forced me to work here. What would it hurt to say, good afternoon? Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day. You know, come again. Why
I
is this? Practically throw the money at you. Don't
I
say anything. Don't even return a greeting.
mhm. I can tell you right now from someone who's worked in the food and service industry back in school. Uh, some of it is burnout because a lot of them are there for long periods of time. Like you're there from let's say maybe 6 a.m., 6 a.m. getting everything ready, and you don't leave until the next shift shows in until like 3 or 4, and then you're getting paid off of tips alone. So if you're not having a particularly good day tip wise, that does weigh on you because don't get it twisted. They're always counting their tips to see how much money they're making. So so if they're not making a decent day's worth of tips,
Are
then
you
that
going to keep making more tips if you're poor service?
they're already in that mindset at that point. After they're like, if you're like the last one on their shift and they already in that mindset that they didn't make enough money, then they're already checked out. They're just like, okay, this is the last table and I can get the hell out of here. It is what it is. That
That
I'm
could have been the table. That could have
but
been the table
it may
that
have
you
been
got the
it it may have
the largest tip.
been. However, they're already burnt out. They've checked out for the day. They have checked out. They got other stuff they can be doing or other stuff to do. And it's just like it's the last table. I'm probably I can tell you right now, it'll be like their mindset would be like, it's my last table. They're probably only because they'll look at the person. They'll look at the
Oh,
person.
so you judging the person. You judging the person who's sitting at the table. Is
I'm
it
telling you this.
is
I'm
it
telling you
age?
this.
Is it age,
It's all of
sex,
them.
or
It's
race
all. It's all of them.
that
It's
determines
all of
that?
them. It's all of them. It's all of them. It's all of them. They all play. They all play a factor. And I'm not giving any names. I'm not giving names. It was not me. It wasn't me. I just tell you that right now. It wasn't me. But I've seen it. I've seen it. Last table of the day, they'd be like, "Oh, it's this black person, blah blah blah. They're only gonna leave me $1 or $2, and they're already checked out. They are done. They're just like, okay, whatever. Just give them the food, and then it gets to the point to where they'll just let somebody else take the table, and they'll just go home because it's the last table. They be like, hey, you want this table? And yeah, so yeah.
So does so race does play a
Mm-hmm.
factor.
Mm-hmm. 100%. It may not now, but back then,
Oh
2006.
no, I
I'm saying
probably
no.
think
I
that
don't
still
know.
holds weight now.
I don't know now for the service. I'm
Right,
saying back
right,
back
right,
back
right.
then. Um, because I don't know what people think now, but back then, yes,
As
100.
old
percent
as you are, that was yesterday. We talk about back then,
Back then,
back then,
yeah, back
like
then,
yesterday.
yeah, back then, back then, yeah. It always played a factor, especially like if you knew like a
I believe that.
yeah a
I
big
believe that.
big table
I've
comes in,
seen that. I felt that. I
yeah.
felt that with service. I felt that,
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
and,
it's
and it's
real.
sad. It's sad.
I mean, it
Professionalism shouldn't have those
it
boundaries:
it may
age, sex,
it
or
may be
color, or
sad, but
race.
if you're in a rule, not a rural area, but if you're in an area that is like predominantly like African American or something like that, and they always come
Mhm,
in and they do the same thing over and over and over, it's a
mhm.
trend. So at that point, you're already thinking like, okay, this is how much I could potentially make, even if I'm, regardless of if I'm professional or not.
Be professional.
No, I
What does
hear
it hurt
you.
to be
I
professional?
hear you, but what I'm saying is, it's already been judge, jury, execution at that point, and they're just like, I already know what I'm going to make off this table.
they're gonna ask me for a bunch of stuff that is just gonna annoy me. They're always gonna be like, "Hey, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this," and then even if I'm as nice as I can be to them, this is the outcome I can expect.
To, hey, to their credit, I have to agree with the annoyance of asking for stuff constantly. I'm sitting there with people at a table, and I'm like, really? Come on. They're constantly needy, needy, needy. Look, stop it. Stop it. Stop. And then the complaints.
Yep.
And then I've seen
And
the
once the
complaints.
complaints kick
I'm at
in,
the table. I'm at the table. I'm at the table. I'm
what
seeing this happen in front of
once the
me. And I
complaints
check
kicked
it.
in,
And I check
we're
them.
we're done.
And I check them. And listen, and I'm telling you, and I know I'm gonna get blasted for this. Please put it in the comment section. Any derogatory or thing about this, but it's usually our females that do it. I
You're not look.
I've
You,
been saying
as
personally, this is what
as
I've
so, look, and I can agree with you. As somebody that's actually been there, yes, it usually is.
I, I'm sorry. I know you're probably not gonna like what I'm saying. You probably disagree, but it's usually that. And I'm sitting there with friends, people I know, doing this, and I'm
Mhm.
like, stop it. Come on now. Come on. It's enough. It's enough. Needy, 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 complaining, complaining, complaining. And it's just like, really?
Yeah,
It's, it's, it's embarrassing
right. But
to me.
people don't they don't care. They don't care. They're like, I.
And I try to minimize it and be cordial
Mhm.
with the waitress or waiter.
Yeah, but
And
you're getting the what's the word I'm thinking of? Um, not the ricochet, but you're getting the like the grenade already exploding. You're getting the shrapnel. There you go. You're getting the shrapnel from what's going on. So yes, you may be being nice, but that person that was needing and complaining and all that, they already set off the bomb. So everybody at the table is just automatically just like, all right, whatever, man.
yeah, yeah. And I feel for him. I feel for him. So professionalism is tested. It is tested to the utmost sometimes, to the point where I have to sympathize with them for holding to keep that level intact. Um, I, I, I've seen it. I personally, I've lived it.
And as a
I
person that's
sat
been
right
on
there
the
and seen it happen.
as a person that's been on the other side, yeah, that's why. That's just, no.
So the takeaway with all that is let's let's keep professionalism at a high level
Mm.
and respect other people too. The customer needs to respect that professionalism and reciprocate it in good faith, good tips, good gestures, and everything like that. I mean, you worked in the industry, Tack. What do you think? You know,
I mean, you said it all right there. Just be and like if you my thing is, I understand you may want to take your people out or whatever, but you also got to think about the person's time that you're taking. So if you're not able to tip somewhat appropriately, then you probably don't need to be in the establishment because that person, I don't know what the wage is now, but I can tell you from experience when I was there, it was 213 an hour and then tips. So imagine being there from 6 or 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. That's what 5 8 hours. That's $16 I've made for my time there, plus whatever tips I made for the day.
and you got to tip out the bartender, don't you?
No, we didn't have a bartender. Didn't have
You
a
didn't
bar.
have,
Yeah.
but some people do. If you have a
Right.
bartender, you have to tip out the bartender as well.
Right. So just be mindful. I know it may be, oh, well, you're saying we shouldn't. No, I'm just saying be mindful. If you're going to use somebody's, if you're going to use somebody's time, you should tip them accordingly. Like,
Absolutely.
because they have to live just like you do.
But they got to show that professionalism
Right.
first.
Right.
You can't treat me like crap
Right.
and
100%.
expect to get a good tip.
100%. Yeah. I'm saying if they treat you, if they go above and beyond, you shouldn't be leaving $1, $2 at the table. Like,
Yeah, that's
$1, $2 at the table. Your bill is what, like 60, $70 if you're with like a full party. Let's say, for instance, full party of 8. I can tell you right now, I served a full party of 8, did everything that they wanted. They did everything that they wanted. Bill came out to like, I think it was like $82, got tipped $3.
I need to laugh. Oh,
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
but that's unheard of. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But see that's the stuff. But everybody's not going to tip you. Like you have instances with Tack that
Right.
you got a good tip that you didn't even do that much.
Right. No, there's one. Yeah, there was
Right,
one.
right.
There was one guy that always came like once a week. All he wanted was coffee. He left $5 every time. Got like a cup of coffee, sat there, drank, talked to us or whatever, and whoever was like serving him whatever, he just leave $5. His bill was like $1 and some change. So
See, so you know, so it's so important to practice professionalism across the board because you think about it, like I said earlier, you're an independent business.
right,
You're carrying yourself as an independent business. If I get a goods and services from someone, I got to pay them accordingly. That's come with tips, meals, and everything else accordingly. So if I'm carrying myself as a professional, I'm gonna handle myself as a professional. When I go to eat, when I go, to a lounge, do business or whatever, I'm gonna carry myself accordingly.
right. And it's not. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not due to a lack of motivation. It's more so people are motivated. It's more so they want it now, and the fact that they can't get it now, that's where it's just like, okay, well, the winds are out of my sails. So I wouldn't say that they're not motivated. They just don't like the fact that it's not given to them right now. So you have those that have the drive, that will be motivated to see the goal all the way through, and then you have the others that are motivated that they're in the moment, but then they see how far the goal is, and then they're just like, well, I'm gonna go do something else that's easier.
And easy is not always right.
Right.
That I'm glad you were in an industry that you see both sides,
Mm-hmm.
both sides. You understand, and because I hadn't done that, wait, but I do work in an industry where I'm serving customers,
Right.
but not in the capacity one on one like you did.
Right.
Awesome information. I got an insight, but I lived on the other side where I watched this fiasco take place right in front of me. This waiter, more than once, waiter and waitress go through a mess because of the people who were at my table,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't right. It wasn't right. And they did the best they could, and I tried to alleviate it, but like you said, the damage,
Yeah,
the track already.
you're getting the unnecessary stuff, unfortunately, but it's due to the fact
That's
that
right.
the people at your table might have did
That's
something.
right. And it's sad. It's sad. So you got race, you got age, you got sex. Those are the factors basically fall in line with that. That people put this barrier up of professional or not being professional.
Hmm.
out of all of it.
I hold on before you finish that. I got one more for you to go back
Okay.
to the sex thing.
Okay.
I had a person work with me. He left the football team as well or whatever. So he's a big dude, just cock diesel. So
Right.
he was like the first thing he told me when he saw me walk in on the job. He's like, "Hey man, you need to get smaller shirts because the women if you serving the women, it ends up helping you in the long run." I was like, "The hell is he talking about?" And so come to find out, I mean, it's a college town, so the
Right.
women that are walking in there or whatever. So he's walking around just like, hey, trying to be smooth the groove and
Right.
serving the tables and everything. I mean, it worked out for him, but I was just
Yeah.
like, he was being professional. I just thought it was funny the fact that he played that to his advantage with the
Right.
people he was waiting on because he always made out well. And I could see the girls sit there and laugh and point at him and be like, "Oh, he's so cute," blah 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 blah. And I was just like,
Right.
this mother. But yeah, I just wanted to say
Right.
that for the people out there listening, it can work for you in your advantage if you are professional in that industry.
That's right. But you got to keep it there.
Right.
When you straddle that fence, that stuff can lead outside. With a male, it's different compared to a female doing the same thing. That guy might be waiting in the parking lot for you
Right.
after work. That's scary.
Right. Well, I
You know,
mean, we're both me, him, and then there was another guy there. So that whenever they left at night, we were always outside just making sure they were fine. But I hear you. See,
right,
we had one. We were kind of like close knit working group. We always looked after each other. So the women that worked there didn't have to worry about somebody
about
being,
somebody.
yeah.
Okay,
But there are those instances where they may be by themselves and people waiting out there for them. But I just wanted to put that story out there so everybody
right,
can
right, right.
know that it can work.
It can work, but male and female is totally
Right.
different.
Right.
It's a safety issue. Safety,
Right.
safety, safety first. Yeah, but no, that's my take on professionalism is 99.9% of the time stay professional.
Exactly. 99.9.
And 1% you can let
The
your hair
point, no,
down.
it's the
If you
point
got
one.
hair,
It's the point one. It's a smaller
point
percentage.
one. That's
Point
the
one.
point one.
The
That's
point
the
one.
point one.
Exactly.
That's
But yeah,
right.
that's so yeah. So it gave you guys a little bit of insight on the service industry and how it is being professional. So if you ever have a waiter and you have a big group of people with you and you're asking
Please.
a whole bunch of stuff, here's some key indicators that you're irritating your waiter. If you keep asking for water and he or she brings out a pitcher, that's one indicator that you're asking for too much. If whatever you're asking for, if they bring out a big bowl or something of whatever you're asking for, that's an indicator that you are irritating them as far as being needy. So just be mindful of that. And just try to keep the request down to within reason.
Right. And another thing, don't expect something from someone that you're not getting. Be respectful, respect, like you said, of your time tag,
Right.
your time, how long you've been there. You don't know how long that person's been there, but be respectful of that person. If you respect that person, hopefully they'll give you, if they're being professional and they carry themselves accordingly, they'll give you the service that you provided. Doesn't matter what it is. You go into somebody's home, these guys, you do work for people, these ladies, they're home alone. A lot of time the men off work, or a lot of single women out here now. Do your job. Your job is not to hit on this young lady or this woman. Do your job and go home. I'll go to the next job. Keep your business professional 100% of the time. Stop trying to hit on every good looking woman or any woman or anyone when they're trying to do their job. Hey, you can admire somebody and keep it to yourself. Be professional. I stress that because I don't see enough of it. I see enough of the opposite. And we need to stop doing that, especially in our community. If anybody disagree or agree, please put some things in the comments, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'll get a bunch of laughs and stuff for in the little story. I got a bunch of stories. I can sit here on hours and just talk about stuff. But yeah, just wanted to bring that to light for you people out there who have some
Yeah,
sort of
that's why
deal.
Tack is wearing tight shirts, because
That it stuck with me. That's what I have. That's what I do now. Just doing that for years. I'm just like, well, no, but we appreciate you listening, and we will see you all next week. And is there anything else you need to say, sir?
That's it. Tack. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend and the rest of your week until next time.
Yep, and we're out of here. Later, everybody.
Peace.